Some people are born with little, while others are born with paths already paved for them, meaning they are born with enough wealth. He said, "I was born into a poor family, so I had to work hard to get what I wanted. I grew up thinking I would be rich, but maybe in the journey to achieving that, I didn't always make the best choices. But the important thing is that many times I learned from the mistakes I made." He said, "Sleeping is for the poor because every rich person always has dreams they want to achieve, and those dreams are not the ones you have when you're asleep, but those dreams are the ones that keep you awake. In other words, if you want to achieve certain things, if you have dreams you want to reach, work hard because the world moves very fast. If you're distracted, you'll be left behind." He also said, "If you are not in prison, if you are not sick, if you have arms, legs, and no disabilities, and you have a healthy life without problems, then many people wish they had those opportunities. A person in prison wishes for freedom. A sick person desires good health without illness, and people living with disabilities also have their own desires. So, with the opportunities you have, use them wisely. Just start, work hard, believe, and finally, be patient." These words of wisdom were spoken by a man we are going to talk about, and we will also reflect on the events that marked his life as well as other words that could change your life, your way of living, the way you see things, and words that could give you a direction for the future. Then remember to subscribe so we can be together every day. His real name is Curtis James Jackson, but he is known by the name 50 Cent. He is an American rapper, actor, and businessman. 50 Cent played a significant role in the journey of hip-hop on an international level. He was born on July 6, 1975, in Queens, New York, in the United States of America. Some extraordinary facts you might not know about Curtis James Jackson, aka 50 Cent, include that he began selling drugs at just 12 years old during the 1980s. Another notable fact about him is that his mother, Sabrina, gave birth to him at a very young age. Sabrina was only 15 years old when she gave birth to 50 Cent. Imagine a 15-year-old girl giving birth to a baby boy, and that boy eventually became the renowned 50 Cent. His biological mother, Sabrina, was a prominent drug dealer. It's clear that growing up in the care of such a parent was not easy. After his mother's death, 50 Cent inherited her drug-dealing business. A large part of his life was spent evading law enforcement, occasionally getting caught and imprisoned. He himself admits to having been arrested numerous times. This was due to the various illegal activities he was involved in, including violence, theft, and drug dealing, which exposed him to a variety of people and earned him many enemies. 50 Cent survived numerous gunfire incidents while involved in various violent activities. At times, he would engage in shootouts with law enforcement and his enemies. It is also said that the name 50 Cent originated from a certain amount of money he once stole. After committing the theft, security forces surrounded him, arrested him, and confiscated the stolen money. However, he later managed to escape, and when he checked his pocket, out of all the money he had stolen, he found only 50 cents left. That's when he decided to name himself 50 Cent. However, others claim that the name 50 Cent originates from the history of slavery. Those who have read historical accounts are well aware of the history that highlights the type of slavery that existed from the 16th century to the 19th century. This was the transatlantic slave trade, where people were taken from Africa and transported to America. In the Americas, particularly in the Caribbean islands, South America, and North America, major markets were established for selling black slaves who had been taken from Africa. At these markets, people from various places would come to purchase these individuals and turn them into slaves. These slaves were then forced to perform various tasks, such as working on sugarcane plantations, coffee farms, tea plantations, and what were referred to as industries of that time. These black people, men, women, or children, were given new names by their buyers, who often named them based on the value they were purchased for. For instance, some were called 50 Cent or 8 Cent. The reasoning behind these names was that the slaves were bought for amounts of money or cents equivalent to the names they were given. These black individuals are the ancestors of many black people found in different parts of the world today, particularly on the American continent. It is said that the name 50 Cent has its roots in this history. Specifically, Curtis James Jackson, the individual who adopted the name, once explained that 50 Cent symbolizes revolution. He also mentioned that he took the name 50 Cent from Kelvin Darnell Martin, a notorious thief in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, during the 1980s. That thief was also nicknamed 50 Cent, and it is believed that he may have chosen the name based on the same concept of cents that slaves were bought for. Curtis James Jackson, also known as 50 Cent, chose the name 50 Cent because it symbolized something powerful related to revolution. Delving into the childhood of Curtis James Jackson, also known as 50 Cent, he was called Jackson during his early years. He was born in New York City, but grew up in the southern part of Jamaica. He was raised solely by his mother, Sabrina, as I mentioned earlier. Sabrina was a drug dealer. She died in a fire when her son Jackson was still very young, only 8 years old. 50 Cent once mentioned that his mother, Sabrina, was among those who engaged in same-sex relationships. She often argued with her husband about this, and it is said that this was one of the reasons for their early separation. After his mother's death, 50 Cent's father disappeared. Although his father had never been very involved in his life, there were occasional times when he visited them. However, after his mother passed away, his father vanished completely, and 50 Cent was sent to live with his grandmother. When 50 Cent turned 11, he started practicing boxing. At the age of 12, he began selling drugs. By the time he was 14, he had opened a boxing gym in their neighborhood, which also became a location where he secretly sold his drugs. During those years, 50 Cent was frequently involved in acts of violence, both at school and in his neighborhood. He often carried a gun to school to confront those who tried to bully or attack him. After some time, 50 Cent was arrested, but later released. It was then that he confessed to his grandmother that he had been selling drugs. His grandmother was heartbroken, but it was in vain because 50 Cent continued with the same activities and kept getting arrested repeatedly. There was a time he was sentenced to a prison term ranging between 3 and 9 years. However, it was later reduced, and he served only 6 months, during which he spent part of the time in a boot camp as an alternative to completing the full prison sentence. 50 Cent himself stated that although he was deeply involved in selling drugs, especially cocaine, he never used it. Instead, he admitted to using other types of drugs like marijuana and other substances, but he always stayed away from cocaine. It is said that 50 Cent began his music career around the year 2000, although he had already started experimenting with music while still in high school. However, his debut album never got released because he was shot. Later, in 2002, he managed to get back on track and released a mixtape titled Guess Who's Back. It was during this time that he was discovered by Eminem, who saw potential in him as one of the promising rappers. Eminem immediately signed him to his label, Shady Records. With the support of Eminem and Dr. Dre, 50 Cent worked on an album that completely changed his life, titled Get Rich or Die Tryin. This album made 50 Cent one of the top-selling rappers of 2002. In 2003, 50 Cent founded the group G-Unit and also established his own record label, G-Unit Records. He signed rappers such as Tony Yayo and Lloyd Banks to the label. This helped him perform even better with his second album, which he released in 2005. From that point on, 50 Cent solidified his position as one of the greatest rappers of all time. Up until 2014, he continued to carry the hip-hop flag with pride. During this period, he also pursued acting in various films and engaged in different business ventures. In 2014, he released his fifth album, titled Animal Ambition. 50 Cent won numerous awards, including Grammy Awards, Billboard Awards, VGX Awards, and many more. Billboard ranked him third among the greatest rappers of all time. So, That was a summary of the life of Curtis James Jackson, known by the name 50 Cent. Here are some of the words that 50 Cent has said that can change your life. Let us learn from everyone, because there is no perfect person who won't mislead you, and there is no bad person who won't guide you. Whether someone is treated badly or well, there is always something to learn from him or her. 50 Cent once said, "You can choose to pray or choose to worry. The mistake you must not make is doing both. Do not pray and then go on to worry again." In short, there are two options: pray or worry, but never do both at the same time. He said, "It is good to love your enemies, and it is also good to hate your friends, because your enemies are always the same. They don't change, they don't fluctuate. As for your friends, they always change." That's why it is better to love your enemies, because if there are people in your life who don't lie to you, who don't deceive you, and who tell you the truth, including pointing out your flaws as they really are, those are your enemies. According to 50 Cent, your enemies are always the same, while your friends are always fluctuating like the weather. 50 Cent said, "People are like plants. They grow and change every day." Don't be surprised when someone betrays you. That's reality. And don't be surprised when someone does you good. Also, that's reality. Accepting the situation you are in, whatever it may be, is what matters most. He said, "I hate a liar more than I hate a thief. A thief is after my salary, while a liar is after my truth. A thief wants money and other wealth we all talk about in this world, but a deceiver or liar is always by your side, showing you a false picture of things, playing with your emotions. That person is worse because they can kill your spirit and leave you feeling empty." He said, "Sleeping is for the poor because every rich person always has dreams they want to achieve, and those dreams are not the ones you have when you're asleep, but those dreams are the ones that keep you awake." In other words, if you want to achieve certain things, if you have dreams you want to reach, work hard because the world moves very fast. If you're distracted, you'll be left behind. 50 Cent said, "The only excuse for being poor is prison." In other words, you have no other excuse for being poor except when you're in prison, where you don't have the freedom to do what you want to advance yourself. Being imprisoned in jail is the only excuse for poverty. What 50 Cent said makes sense. If you are not in prison, if you are not sick, if you have arms, legs, and no disabilities, and you have a healthy life without problems, then many people wish they had those opportunities. A person in prison wishes for freedom, a sick person desires good health without illness, and people living with disabilities also have their own desires. So, with the opportunities you have, use them wisely. Just start, work hard, believe, and finally, be patient. He said, "There are two types of people in business. Some people have the talent for business, while others don't have the talent for business but have the ability to make use of the talent of others." If you look closely, you'll find that many of the wealthy people in business are not the ones with the talent for business, but rather the ones who know how to use the talents of those who have it. In other words, some people are smart in certain things, while others are smart in making use of other people's knowledge. 50 Cent said, "Some people are born with little, while others are born with paths already paved for them, meaning they are born with enough wealth." He said, "I was born into a poor family, so I had to work hard to get what I wanted. I grew up thinking I would be rich, but maybe in the journey to achieving that, I didn't always make the best choices. But the important thing is that many times I learned from the mistakes I made." He said, "Always pay attention to your money. Try to protect it as much as possible because it takes money to make more. Save as much as possible because opportunities often follow where money is." He said, "A real man is one who takes responsibility for everything, no matter how tough the responsibilities are, no matter how difficult the situations may be. He must be there to take care of everything that happens and solve it in the right way." He said, "There is a strong principle behind the success of many different entrepreneurs. Do not pay an employee what they deserve, but pay them what you both agreed upon. If an employee accepts a certain salary, and that is what was agreed upon, then it should be the amount you give them, following the agreement you made." 50 Cent said, "I do not see death as a bad thing because death is what defines life. Without death, life would have no value. Living in fear of death means you are fighting yourself because there is no life without death, and you can't live without dying. Death and life are like two sides of a coin. They never separate. You cannot take one side of the coin and leave the other, just as you cannot love one side of the coin and hate the other. Instead, you must accept both because they go together and complement each other. If there is one thing we all have as a certainty in this world, it is death. We will all die, and death is the one thing that cannot disappoint you." These are the reasons why 50 Cent does not view death as something bad, because it is the complete definition of life. 50 Cent said, "I need to pray. I need to love myself. I need to take care of myself. I need to succeed. I need to know where I'm heading because I know where I'm coming from. All of these things are my responsibility and no one else's. This is how it is for me, for you, and for everyone else." He also said, "You can't say that the time of much sunshine is good unless you have experienced the bad of the rain. You cannot know happiness unless you have known pain. You cannot appreciate the sweetness of wealth unless you have experienced poverty, and you cannot understand the taste of money unless you have been without it. Wise men understand and laugh, while ignorant men just talk." It takes maturity to understand that sometimes silence holds more power than having the last word. He said, "When life tests you, that's when you realize life has no real meaning. When you're sick or facing trials such as losing someone, that's when you understand that life is empty and won't last forever. Learn to live happily and don't burden your heart with sorrow because life is short. Do good and you'll find kindness ahead of you. Help those who ask for your assistance if you can, and forgive small mistakes in life." He said, "If the person you look up to was able to do it, you can do it too. We are all born the same, grow up, age, and eventually die. What they achieved, you can achieve too. Sometimes all you need is to work harder than they did because their journey is not yours." You must also learn from the mistakes you make on your journey to reach your own success. There is no life that is 100% identical. Everyone has their own life, their own opportunities, misfortunes, problems, consequences, choices, mistakes, patience, and other unique experiences. Let no one lie to you. No two lives are the same. Do not live based on others because no two lives are identical. Instead, if you want to reach where someone else has reached, you need to learn from their journey and their mistakes, then create your own path and make your own choices. The problem is not what you are going through, but rather what is inside you because of what you have been through. The more often you go through a problem, the higher the chances of not falling into that same problem again. In short, experience matters. Money can change your lifestyle, but what you've been through is what makes you who you are. These are very profound words spoken by 50 Cent, a father of 2 children. Before we finish, let me share a few words to keep with you. Life's toughest moments often feel like a solo journey. But those struggles? They're the moments that sharpen your mind, strengthen your heart, and teach you courage. It's not about how much good you've done. People will always hold on to your mistakes. That's just how it goes. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful skills you can have. Don't try to make everyone happy. You'll lose yourself in the process. Stand your ground, be firm in your choices, and don't compromise your values. Always aim for the best, but prepare yourself for challenges, because success often comes at a cost. To move forward, you've got to let go of things that hold you back, whether it's people, habits, or even comfort. Timing is key. Holding on to something too long can leave you stuck with regrets. And while people might cheer you on, they won't want you to outshine them. If you're spending all your energy building someone else's dream, your own dreams will fade away. Hard times may feel overwhelming, but they're often a blessing in disguise. They remind you to appreciate what you have and what you've taken for granted. And let's face it, no matter how kind or respectful you are, there will always be people talking behind your back. That's just how life works. The hard truth? The people closest to you can sometimes be the ones who leave you feeling the most vulnerable. But that's where strength comes in. Stay focused, stay determined, and keep moving forward. Life isn't just about surviving. It's about playing the game smart and never losing sight of your goals. If you're lucky enough to have watched this video and found it helpful, I want to make sure you don't miss out on similar content in the future. It can be hard to find videos like this again unless you're notified. So, to make sure you never miss a video from this channel, I highly recommend subscribing and turning on the notification bell. That way, you'll easily be able to find more videos like this one whenever they're posted. I wish you blessings and good fortune, and may you continue to have great moments.